You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Welcome to the Hardcore Patriot.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. We can stay up late, swapping manly stories in the morning.
This is dangerous, son. You gotta know how to handle it. One wrong move and you're done for.
And now, here's your host, Alan Ray.
Hi there. I'm Alan Ray, the Hardcore Patriot. Happy Monday. What a weekend we've had. I hope you had a great Father's Day. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you didn't get overheated with some of this nasty, sticky weather we've had or get too rained on. Man, what a show we have today. I opened up the headlines and all I seen was Trump this, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that. So guess what? In my true rebellious fashion, we're not going to talk about Donald Trump at all. I'm Alan Ray, the Hardcore Patriot. Are you ready? I am. Let's kick this.
Well, we got ourselves a place, south of Detroit way, where everybody round's got the blues every day. We're gonna have a good time, don't have to worry at all. Hop off on exit 17, we'll have ourselves a ball. Well, it's pouring down the music, and it's starting to flood. Must be something in the water, 'cause we're all feeling good. We're gonna have a good time, don't have to worry at all. Hop up on exit 17, we'll have ourselves a ball. Come on, give it to me. and the women here are fine. It's about to get loud, so we hope you don't mind. We're gonna have a good time, don't have to worry at all. Woo! Hop off on edge of 17. Wow, we'll have ourselves a ball.
That's right, Bubba. Tell them all about it. Boom! That was Bubba Wilson on the Powerhouse. Yours truly playing bass on that. Man, we had a great show Saturday out in the tiny town of Morenci, Michigan. And there were people out there open carrying, walking around, and guess what? Nobody got shot. Nobody got injured. Those guns stayed right there in those little bitty holsters. What do you know about that? That flies in the face of everything you've been told about the anti-gun crowd screaming that guns are what kills people. Nope, not a problem. In fact, everybody had themselves a ball. I'm Alan Ray. I'm the Hardcore Patriot. I'm coming to you from a cornfield in southeastern Michigan, and yes, if you're coming to see me, you do have to take exit 17 to get to my house. Unless you know the back roads, and if you try to take the back roads, I guarantee you, you're going to get lost. Man, we got a great show today. You know, like I said, and when I first hit this thing, is all I saw today was just Trump this, Trump that, Trump this. I don't want to talk about the president today, okay? I'm just not going to. What I want to talk about is how you're being controlled. Every time we turn around, the alt-left nut jobs that try to tell us that they're the intellectual elites. I actually had somebody on social media bragging how just because they live on a coast that they are intellectually elite. That's not the truth. The truth is these people are half-wits. They are so self-absorbed. They live in such a bubble that they've truly convinced themselves that their way is the perfect way. But yet, if just the slightest things go wrong in their razor-thin infrastructure, they're going to be eating their own pets in a matter of 2 days. Because really, they're idiots. Okay, they read a few books. Congratulations. The latest and the greatest attack on your thinking, on your freedom, on your liberties is called cultural appropriation. And you know, in all fairness, I sat down this week and I said, what is the deal with cultural appropriation? Sometimes they call it cultural misappropriation if they really want to tell you you're screwing up. Now, the short version of it is, it's another alt-left attack on anything pretty much Caucasian. And these people are continuing to tell you that you need to live a life of self-shame. You basically need to go around with a cat of nine tails and slap yourself on the back every 5 minutes because you're just a horrible person because some of the things that has probably or probably not happened in the history of your race. They want to call it a crime of one culture supposedly exploiting another culture without that culture's permission. Dance, music, art, jewelry, food, language. And what they did was they took an academic concept and they hoarded out to include anything and everything possible. Anything you could imagine to be culturally misappropriate. You see, they want you to stay in your, quote, cultural lane, especially if you happen to be the dominant culture that is somewhat, somehow inexplicably taken over another culture. Now, as a side, I do feel that over the years, we as a nation, we have advanced culturally. There's some things we used to do that we look back on and we do find disturbing. One of the ones right off the top of my head when studying this week was some of the old Bugs Bunny cartoons, okay? Some of the little things they did in there, okay, we probably wouldn't do today. In fact, I think they've taken a little too far and they've basically erased, got rid of those cartoons as much as possible. No, we need to keep those cartoons around to show how we have advanced culturally. But some of the old Bugs Bunny cartoons, they would do a little racial slur here and there, a little maybe against blacks, against Jews, against the Chinese, and well, they'd go a little overboard. And in today's time frame, we look back and we go, well, that's probably not optimum. That's probably not a good thing to do. We are trying to, be equal. And as Americans, as true citizens of these United States of America, we recognize that, it doesn't matter where you came from. It's who you are that makes you. But I want to look at cultural appropriation today and the big lie, the big problem that's developing where they want you, Mr. and Mrs. America, to stay in your cultural lane and don't you dare get out, because that's going to be a crime. Well, if you had a Cinco de Mayo party, that was a sin. That was a crime. If you have a food stand and you sell burritos or tacos, that's cultural misappropriation. You wear hoop earrings? Yep, cultural misappropriation. You have a kimono that you wear at night around the house? Well, that could be cultural misappropriation. Cornrowed hair? Yep, cultural misappropriation. I don't know. Where did Crocs come from? How about Crocs? Are those from a different culture? I don't know. Maybe we can agree on this one, that Crocs should be cultural misappropriation, okay? Because just stop wearing them, okay? Just stop. Rubber shoes just aren't cool no matter how you dress them up. People, come on. But the short of it, the skinny of it is this. The social justice warriors want anything not in your very own culture a taboo. They even want it outlawed. Now, according to Kat Timpf, who, if you don't follow Catherine Timpf on Twitter, you really need to. She's a riot. I just love her to death. But she has an article here, and she points out there's actually a 109 delegate committee which makes up the UN's World Intellectual Property Organization. They've been in Geneva this week working on a task regarding cultural appropriation. And there's people out there that actually want to make it a crime. Cultural appropriation a crime. Now, here's the deal. How do you know what is a cultural appropriation and what is not? And the farther I dove into this, the farther I tried to figure out exactly where they're going with this, the more I realized they themselves don't even know. I was looking at an article in thoughtcompany.com, and they have an article saying defining cultural appropriation. And they point out there's this woman, Susan Scafidi, a law professor at Fordham University, told Jezebel.com that it's difficult to give a concise explanation of cultural appropriation. The author of Who Owns Culture, Appropriation and Authenticity in American Law defined cultural appropriation as the following: taking intellectual property, traditional knowledge, cultural expressions, or artifacts from someone else's culture without permission. Now, you see, I had a neighbor that I grew up with. She used to make us tamales, a big platter of tamales, every Christmas. She'd bring them down to us, and for years, while she was alive, she would just do this every Christmas, sometime during the week. And I love tamales. Now, if I were to open up a restaurant and serve tamales in my, mind, thinking, what a great honor it is to honor this lady with, spreading love of how I like tamales and getting the recipe out there and everything. Well, you know what? It makes me a criminal because I'm not a Mexican American. I'm white. You evil person, you. It doesn't matter that I grew up on a lot of Mexican cuisine because where I grew up, the area I grew up, the Mexican population was huge. It was just a fact. You were either a farmer, a farm boy, farm girl, or you were Mexican. And most of them were farmers. That's just who we were. And we got along. And our cultures collided, they clashed, and they mixed, and they intermingled. You see, trying to shove this cultural appropriation, this hypersensitive stupidity down our throats is just moronic. It is moronic. And these people that claim to be the elites, the educated elites, we're so much smarter than you. Yeah, what they're doing is they're trying to segregate everybody as much as they can. Everybody needs to stay in their lane. Because the more we can divide you, the more we can split you up into smaller subgroups and smaller subgroups yet and smaller subgroups yet, guess what? The easier you are to control. Well, you know what? I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. It's not realistic. You look back through history, ancient history, and really, this what they call cultural appropriation has happened since day one. You look back in ancient writings, look back in the Old Testament of a Bible, and they talk about how if a nation was taken over, a lot of times they would adopt their cultures. They would do some things that whatever nation they took over was doing. They would look around and go, "Hey, that's cool." You look at the Greek and Roman cultures when they collided. A lot of the Greek gods were adopted by the Romans. They called them different names, but they were the exact same gods. And then when Christianity came along, at first the Greeks go, "What are these people?" And they started killing them all. And after a while, one of the Roman emperors stood up and they went, "Hey, guess what? This isn't such a bad thing to do." And next thing you know, guess what? You got the Vatican in Rome. And they used to persecute Christians right there. It's history. And if you really, 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 really want to get technical, this is going to destroy the whole cultural appropriation stupidity. Whether you believe in Darwinism or creationism, they've both pretty much agreed that the human being as we know today, Homo erectus, the person that we are, started somewhere around the African savanna area in that general location. We all share a strand of DNA that goes back to the very first humans, Adam and Eve. Whether you want to call them that, if you're a Darwinist, or whether you're a creationist, I personally believe that we were created. But that's an argument for another day. But since that day, since that time period, we have done nothing but develop. And people have gone into other parts of the world, other parts of this globe that we live on. And whether it be by fascination, necessity, whatever the cause, they picked up different habits, different traits. And a lot of times when one area goes into another area, they look around and see these traits, these habits, and they go, "Oh, that's cool," and they start doing it themselves. Years upon years upon years of human existence doing this, and you have what you have today. Unless a species, unless a culture of people has been totally isolated, which they have found some out there, unless they've been totally isolated from developing humanity, they can't help but take on some of the traits of the people around them. Look at silk. Look at when I don't know. You name any kind of product, any kind of culture. Look at hoop earrings. That's one of the big ones I hear a lot of. Well, you shouldn't wear hoop earrings. That exploits the black culture. Let's look at it. Hoop earrings ancient Egyptian culture. You fail, you lose, you're wrong. There's a lot of things that the cultures have picked up from each other over the decades. So you can't really define what is a culture from one group and what's a culture from another group. You can always follow the evidence from culture to culture to culture of different traits, musics. It's almost impossible to define what is cultural misappropriation. And they even say it themselves. It's really kind of a loose concept. So what it is it's a control concept. They want to squelch your thinking. And now they want to get the UN involved. They want to put out a set of laws to outlaw cultural appropriation. Well, here's a couple of problems with that. Number one, the UN doesn't make laws that I follow, okay? I don't vote for UN representatives, so I don't follow UN laws. And how do you outlaw dance, an art form? How do you outlaw thinking? How do you outlaw language adaptations? You know, just to throw this out there, just to give you something to think about, our language that we speak here in the United States of America is literally a mosaic of different words from different cultures. I mean, everything from Latin, African, you name it, Chinese. We are so messed up in our language. Why? Because we're a bunch of different cultures all mashed together into one big nation. Cultural appropriation is inevitable, especially in the United States of America. We are literally a mosaic of cultural appropriation. Everyone shares that strand of DNA that can be traced back to the original humans, Adam and Eve. That means everything you do, say, think, eat, dance, wear, no matter what culture you exist in, has the likelihood of having been adapted from another culture. And like I said, the hypersensitive alt-left has gone off the deep end with this stuff. To demand people to stay in their cultural lane is just another, I don't know, neo-socialist attempt at thought control. But how about this new way of thinking, okay? Let's turn the tables on them for a minute. Let's start calling out these hypersensitive alt-left fools, these neo-socialists, on their attempts at thought control. Here's a new term for you, okay? Social justice oppression. I'm coming up with this right now. Social justice oppression. The act of oppressing a group or a society or a person in the name of social justice, thereby creating a culture of oppression that you're trying to eradicate. There you have it. Social justice oppression. We've, right here, Hardcore Patriot, we've pretty much defined our own new thing to be upset and butthurt about. I'm Alan Ray. I'm the Hardcore Patriot. I'll be back in a little bit. Just a couple other things in the news lately. All 7 of the missing U.S. sailors on the USS Fitzgerald have been found in the flooded berthing room. My prayers go out to these the families of these guys. It's sad. I watched the news this morning. I was reading up on some of it, and man, I tell you what a horrible, horrible thing. And, you know, I've been hearing, like usual, every single time something like this happens, there's conspiracy theories flying off the handle. Look, Near misses on the open ocean happen more than you think, because there are lanes, basically, that these ships mostly travel through. You don't just go out there and travel nilly-willy around, and sometimes maybe they do, but near misses and hits happen more than you think. It's an unfortunate incident. Let's not make more of it than what it is. Let's just take a moment to remember these sailors in your prayers. What a horrible way to die. For those of you who are serving, who did serve, you have all my respect. You have all of my admiration. But we need to look at this for what it is, a horrible human tragedy. There's way too many other things on this planet that demand our attention than some kind of an oddball conspiracy theory. We're looking at London again. They suffered another attack. When are they going to realize that they've got a problem? This time it was actually a Muslim community. A white van hit a bunch of Muslim worshipers coming out of an evening prayer service. Was it retaliation? Was it terrorism? I don't have a clue. I saw it this morning. I looked at that and I went, oh man, come on. They have to get control of what's going on over there. They have to start vetting the people coming into their nation. It's a little too late for a lot of it because they're already there. I don't care if they're Muslim, Christian, Tibetan, Buddhists, whoever they are. You have to be careful of the people coming into your country. We live in violent times. There's violent people. Unfortunately, most of this violence is coming out of a certain group. Radical Islamist extremists. ISIS. Which, say what you want, it's Islamic State. That's what ISIS means, okay? These people that try to squelch that and try to say, well, you're being racist. Well, no, Islam's not a race. It's a religion. And Islam extremism is a religion that's gone completely awry. And we've had that discussion before. I don't want to have it again. They'll turn against their own people. It's incredible. I've never seen such mass stupidity in all my life. I don't know what to do about, how do you wrap your head around what's going on in London right now, in Europe right now? And then to turn around and have the Democrats try to browbeat you, try to demonize, vilify anyone for wanting us to vet the people coming into this country so that stuff doesn't happen here. It's insanity. It's absurd. And I'm not going to go into a political rant with the president again. I'm just not. I refuse. I've seen all these headlines, and all it is a bunch of negativity. But to try to stop and just ignore the fact that we are inviting terrorism into this nation when we don't vet people a little bit better. And we don't look at some of these nations where there are hotbeds of terrorism. And we have people out there that want to basically condemn you and browbeat you and call you names because you want to look at these nations that even the Democrat president that just left office named as terrorist nations, and you're saying, okay, let's pause them coming into this country until we can find a way to vet them better. Until we can get with them and say, look, on your side, you have to step up. To condemn this administration for trying to vet these people and keep us safe coming into this nation is insane. And in the meantime, the hypocrisy of it all is you had our former president spying on the people in this nation, allowing the NSA, without any kind of warrant, or very scant warrants once in a while, to just collect all kinds of information on the people. And you could tell by it doesn't take really a scholar to go back through what they were talking about and how they used to talk about militia members, NRA members, people who own legally guns, pistols, concealed carry permits, they call them terrorists. So guess who they were probably spying on? You can fill in the blanks. In the meantime, we are just setting ourselves up and opening ourselves up for another 9/11. Did we forget? Did we literally as a nation forget what happened that day? September 11th, 2001, remember that? Jet airliners flown into the north and the south towers of the World Trade Center. Another one flown into the Pentagon. Another one, which we're pretty sure was meant for the White House, being downed in a field because the passengers aboard that plane realized they were going to be used as a human missile. So they rushed the cockpit. Did we forget about all of that? Did we forget about the dangers of not vetting some of these people coming into the nation? It's incredible. London is going to happen here. And you know where it's going to happen? It's going to happen in New York City. It's going to happen in Los Angeles. It's going to happen in Washington, D.C. And it's going to begin as soon as these people organize themselves in a way where they can do it and fly underneath the radar of the NSA and the FBI and the CIA. They'll figure it out. Because evil really knows no boundaries. It just keeps going and going and going. We learned that over the last week with this alt-left nutbag out there shooting up GOP congressmen. And now in response to that, you have these alt-left morons on social media with a hashtag of Hunt Republicans? Hunt Republican congressmen? Really? Really? You're calling for violence against fellow Americans. Unbelievable. How stupid do you have to be? And then to turn around and try to convince people that you're the coastal elites, that you know better. You're the better of the people because, well, you're liberal thinking. You're not liberal. The last thing the left is anymore is liberal. You're not liberal in any way, any shape, any form. What you are is you're neo-socialists. That's what you've transformed to. You want everybody around you to check themselves? You better check yourself. That's what you've become. Neo-socialists. Basically communists. You want everybody to be exactly the same. Everybody to be brainwashed into your socialist ideology. And if they get out of line, you're going to find some multi-syllable word to label them with and then scourge them from society. You're a misogynist. Oh, you're culturally inappropriate. You're misappropriating culture. You better check yourself. No, you know what I am? I'm free. I am free. If I feel like putting a sombrero on and walking out down the street to keep my head out of this oppressive heat we've had lately, I'm going to do it. If I feel like making tacos for dinner, I'm going to do it. If I feel like making red beans and rice, I'm going to do it. If I feel like making stir fry tonight for dinner, I'm going to do it. If I feel like going out and putting native headdress on and doing a rain dance to try to get some rain into this area, you know what? I'm free to do it. You can take your cultural misappropriation and put it where the sun don't shine. I really don't care. We're going to come back. We're going to wind this baby up. I got a few more things to talk about. Hang on. Hang on to your life, and we'll be back in a moment.
Hang on to your
They're calling for some record heat in certain parts of the United States today. Do you know what to do in high heat situations? It's been in the 90s here in southeastern Michigan, out in the cornfields here. Kind of hard to do work. I'm not whining about it. I love summer. Bring on the heat. I wish we had a little more rain. It's been threatening rain. We had a little bit of sprinkling here and there, a little bit of a downpour, but not enough to really make a difference. I need to get this grass greened up. But we have some record temperatures coming up. They're calling for a possibility of 120 degrees out in the deserts in the Arizona area. Do you know what to do in extreme heat? You know, one of the good things that our government does, one of the things I don't mind my tax dollars going to, is the ready.gov entire website. Although they aren't the end-all comprehensive guide, they do have some good ideas. Emergency procedures, storage, food storage, shelter, things like that. And yes, they do have extreme heat warnings. And it says, drink plenty of water, even if you don't feel thirsty. Avoid drinks with caffeine. Well, that kind of leaves me out. I've had 3 cups of coffee this morning. But seriously, I mean, I drink a lot of liquids, a lot of water, stuff like that during the day. They say persons who have epilepsy or heart or kidney or liver disease are on fluid-restricted diets or have a problem with fluid retention should consult a doctor before increasing liquid intake. Of course, the common sense ones, don't leave pets or kids alone in closed vehicles. Check on family, friends, and neighbors who do not have air conditioning and who spend much of their time alone. Make sure your animals are hydrated, okay? Make sure they're not suffering from this heat. If the dog has to be outside, which my dog runs around outside as much as she possibly can, and I always have a nice big bucket of cold water out there that she can go stick her head into and get a big drink. If for some reason your home loses power during periods of extreme heat, go to a place that's cool. If you have a basement, hang out in the basement. Stay on the lowest floor out of the sunshine if air conditioning isn't available. Go to the mall. Go watch a movie during the heat of the day. If you have to go outside, avoid strenuous work during the warmest part of the days. You know, use a buddy system if you're working out in extreme heat. Dress in loose-fitting, lightweight, light-colored clothes. Cover as much skin as possible. Protect your face and head. Wear sunblock. Wear a wide-brim hat. I've got one of those old man hats that I'll wear out when I'm gardening. But seriously, if you run like I do, get up early in the morning and run. Or wait until the sun starts, you know, at the end of the day when it starts cooling off a little bit. Limit yourself in the extreme heat out in the sun. Eating. Eat well-balanced, light, regular meals. Don't eat heavy meals. Limit intake of alcohol beverages. Avoid extreme temperature changes. Consider spending the warmest part of the day in public buildings such as libraries, schools, movie theaters, shopping malls. That's what we just went over. This is all coming off of the ready.gov website. But really, since, in all honesty, be careful out there. It is getting hot. It is summertime. And when it's in the 90s, hundreds, and now 110, 120 degrees, man, that's just crazy heat. And it's so easily to get overcome with heat. I've had a few times myself where just all of a sudden out of the blue, you start feeling nauseous, lightheaded, cold sweats. When you start feeling any of that, you got to slow down. If you have to work out in this heat, A, drink a ton of water, and B, work slower. Work at a slow pace. With the old Hank Jr. song, Country State of Mind, sitting on a bank in the shade, doing a little fishing, that's what you do in oppressive heat. You got to protect yourself. Learn how to survive, and it's just as bad as cold sometimes. Wrapping up the thing, and those of you that listen to me a lot, those of you that have been following me for a while know that I go into these little things. Do you have a survival kit in your car? Do you have some people call them bug out bag, get home bag, 72-hour bag, emergency preparedness bag in your vehicle? This is the time of year that you look at that bag, you break all your stuff out, look at expiration dates, make sure you have warm weather emergency survival stuff in there. You know those cool towels that you see every once in a while? Those things are great. Soak them, put them on the back of your neck when you have to work outside or you have to do something outside. Make sure you're loaded with stuff like that in your survival bag. This is the time of year where you don't need a lot of hand warmers and things like that, but don't forget to put them back in when it starts getting cool again. However, break that bug out bag out. Do it this week. Do it on the weekend. Check all of your expiration dates. Make sure all your food and all of your water, everything you have in these get-home bags, these 72-hour bags, make sure it's all kept up to date. It's so easy to throw one of these bags in the trunk of your car, and when you need it, nothing is good. That's part of being aware. That's part of surviving emergencies, is making sure that you stay on top of it. I myself tend to get a little bit lazy. I'm going to do the same thing. In fact, that's probably going to happen this week. Break everything out, take a look at it all, see what's good, what's bad, what's melted. Remember, cars, if it's 80 degrees outside, it's 95, 100 degrees in the car. And if there's anything in there that doesn't take kindly to heat, it's probably melted, which means you probably need to throw it out, replace it. Remember, we want you alive. We want you to be a healthy citizen. And whether you're on the left, whether you're on the right, we need to stop and think for a minute. Politics is one aspect of life. We are all Americans. We may not agree on everything, but if you really stop and talk to enough people like I do, you start realizing after a while that there's a lot of things that we agree on, and just a few things we agree to disagree. I was woke up a little bit this weekend by a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, close friend of mine, young man, who I know is very Democrat left thinking. He's not, one of these nutball alt-lefts. He does understand, like I do, that there are different thought schools and there are different ways of reaching different conclusions. And he came to me and said, you know what? I was in a city the other day and I almost got mugged. What do you got to do to get a concealed carry permit? Well, you know what? Instead of berating him, instead of demeaning him, we sat down and we had a talk about it. And we said, here's the thing. I went over basically what we went over a couple weeks ago in being prepared to fight back. You got to have the mindset. And if you have the mindset, well, you got to keep training. You got to practice. And by the time it was all said and done, by the time we ended the conversation, he was ready. And now I've had another one this weekend. The lead singer of my band that I play in, he was kind of pointing to the direction that he's ready to get a concealed carry permit. The world is becoming a violent place, and we need to protect ourselves. And these are not people on the right. These are Democrats I'm talking about. They're starting to wake up, too, to understand that you need to be able to defend yourself. It's about time. I hope more and more people get into that attitude and get into that mindset that if you can't fight back, you've already lost. Hey, I'm Alan Ray. I'm the Hardcore Patriot. Hopefully I'll see you Friday. I am going to be busy the rest of the week. I have got a lot on my plate. But until then, hey, God bless you. God bless the USA. I'll see you next time.
You can find Alan Ray on Twitter at 2cynical65 or at the Atomic Doghouse 1965.wordpress.com. Thank you for listening to the Hardcore Patriot.